What's going on, Aces? Welcome back to the channel. So Cassie's husband, once she left Diddy and she got situated, she married Alex Fine, who was her previous trainer. He made a statement in regards to the abuse that she suffered while she was with Diddy, which is essentially over a decade. And so many people now are coming out with their stories. And I applaud Cassie. And, I've read all the stuff from Cola Booth and all of the people speaking out, trying to, I guess, preserve the dignity of Diddy, Sean Combs. But what he did was indefensible, in my opinion. And what I appreciate about what he's saying, Alex Fine, Cassie's husband, is that, this opens the door for a larger conversation in regards to DV and so many people who suffer in silence, so many people who are gaslit, who are shamed, who are not believed, who struggle and to get away from their abusers. And we saw that on that video. I'm not going to play that video for you guys. If you want to see it, of course, it's everywhere on your social media feed or on CNN. But I'm really proud of Cassie. And no, do I think that she's a perfect? No one's perfect. There is no perfect people. You don't have to be a perfect victim in order to be believed that someone is harming you or abusing you. And I feel like that is what this case exemplifies, because many times and in so many cases before, people would demonize and victim blame women, like, what was she wearing, what was she doing, what did she say or do, to provoke this man, etc., etc. But I'm glad that her husband, is stepping up. He made this statement on the right. I'm going to read it to you. It says, "Letter to women and children. Men who hit women aren't men. Men who enable it and protect those people aren't men. As men, violence against women shouldn't be inevitable. Check your brothers, your friends, and your family. Our daughters, sisters, mothers, and wives should feel protected and loved. Hold the women in your life with the utmost regard. Men who hurt women hate women. To all survivors, find the men and women who help and love. To all the survivors, your stories are real and people believe you. To all the survivors, you're not alone. And there are men and women who care only for your well-being and safety. We want you to succeed and flourish. To all women, to all the women and children, I'm sorry you live in a world where you're not protected and you don't feel equal. I want to raise my daughters in a world where they are safe and loved. To the abusers, you're done. You're not safe anymore. You're not protected anymore. The men by your side are just as weak. You're so miserable with yourself that blank would be considered a kindness," right? He's talking about unaliving. And there's so much to be said in this statement. I want to unpack it because I feel like it's really powerful to validate someone's feelings, someone's experience, right? Too many times when victims of abuse, regardless of, what type of abuse, come forward and say, this happened to me, X, Y, and Z, they will be met with people who just flat out don't believe them, are negligent. And I mean, from cops on down, right? Even Diddy himself, you guys can check his Twitter, that statement that I read in my previous video where he's like, enough is enough. People are coming after my character. I didn't do any of those things that are alleged. And then CNN dropped the bomb. And it's just like, seeing that video, I really feel like it was a game changer. It changed the way people viewed this entire situation. I feel like it changed the way people viewed Diddy. He has been bragging for so long about the things that he's gotten away from or gotten away with, right? But the penalties that he's gotten away from, and he's put it in his music. You know, he's like, I'm not guilty because I'm filthy. Come on, you know, all this stuff. And when you sow those type of seeds, they will come to fruition. Um, and again, it might not even be like in this lifetime, right? But when you harm so many people, it comes back to you. And I'm so glad that Cassie was able to get away from him. I'm so glad that, she had the courage to come forward to tell her story in the midst of all these people, calling her liars all in the comment section. Even Diddy, like I said, that statement is still pinned on his Twitter account where, he's saying that they're, just trying to come after a quote unquote quick payday when we know that now I feel like the feds have so much evidence and and because of your son, King Combs, they know where to find the rest in the other house. But in all seriousness, I'm glad that Cassie was able to find a man that could truly be her soft place to land, right? That could be someone who is a supportive partner, that they can raise a family together, and that she can feel loved, she can feel protected. Because meeting someone who is 20 years your senior, which is what Sean Combs was, he met her. She was essentially a teenager and he was in his 30s. That being groomed for so young, it warps your mindset, and it's predatory. And so I'm glad that her husband is speaking out. But one caveat I will say is that, he's like, men who hit women aren't men. And I understand I'm trying to understand, I should say, what he meant in that statement, that they're not what he would consider real men. But the conversation needs to be had because this type of violence, right, DV, is so normalized, and it's way too commonplace that a conversation needs to be had amongst men. I'm glad that he put this statement out. I feel like it's really important. That's why I wanted to read it and make a video about it. He's saying that they're not men, but the truth is they are men, and that's where the conversation, I feel like, needs to be had. Like people need to be held accountable, both men and women, but typically I feel like the stats are, of course, leaning toward men are the greater perpetrators of violence, um, toward all demographics. They need to be holding themselves accountable because it's inexcusable, it's disgusting, and it needs to stop. Um, and of course, I'm not naive enough to think that, just by putting out a statement or whatever makes it stop. But these things are being brought to light. And I'm so grateful that people are not just putting up with this type of abuse anymore. It's the year 2024, and people are standing up and saying, we're done. A lot of women on social media were answering that question that was posited, would you rather be with a man or a bear in the woods? And a lot of women, most women, chose the bear. But that was just to highlight the fact that so many men have been allowed to be reckless in their behavior. And birth rates are declining all over the world as a result of it. Like, women are standing up and saying, we're not going to allow ourselves to be subjugated to a standard that is disrespectful. So either you respect us up here or we're done. We're not dealing with that. So I'm glad that, Cassie found her husband. I'm glad that he's speaking up, he's speaking out. And I hope that more women, do the same, that they find safety, whether it's, in the arms of someone else or alone or whatever. Just being somewhere that is, safe, because your peace of mind is the most precious things, one of the most precious things that we can obtain in this world. And it's not something to be taken for granted. And I feel like this is just the beginning of the end for Diddy. But I'm glad that her husband made that statement to support her. You guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Please be sure to like the video, share, subscribe with your loved ones, and I will talk with you in the next one. Take care, Aces. Bye.